Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.
Hello and welcome to Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hirol Dadia. We have with us Mr. R.S. Sodhi, MD at Amul, joining in. Mr. Sodhi, always a pleasure to have you on the show and welcome as well. Mr. Sodhi, my first question coming to you is clearly during the first wave when we spoke as well, one thing is that there was a positive impact with regards to where Amul was concerned as a brand, as a product, as a company. Now, how has the transition been from the first wave to the second wave currently? Because now the situation is worse than the first wave. However, somewhere companies are yet prepared.
Yeah, Hiroji, you're right that during first wave, whatever Amul has gained in the market share, not only Amul, uh, branded or packed product category has grown. And Amul was available, visible, affordable, so we got the maximum benefit of, and that benefit continues. But difference between the earlier first wave and now wave is, although uh, cases are much more now compared to first wave, but till now, thank God, supply chain is not impacted. Procurement is normal, plants are working, transportation is happening, nowhere we have faced any difficulty. Labor is coming across all the way, little bit small difficulty maybe there, but nothing worth reporting. So production is normal, milk procurement, production is normal, same is distribution. And now because people know how to work from home, billing, suppose in Bombay, people are not coming to the office, warehousing is open, plants are open, but things are working all right. And demand-wise also, there few segments have been impacted again, which were reviving, especially the Horeca segment. Last wave, it had gone down more or less 0.5 or 10%. Now it has gone down about 50-60% already, but not that much. Ice creams again impacted. I mean, not like last time. Last time during April, May, our sales declined by 85%. This year, no doubt we are 2 or 3 times higher than the last year, but we are not measuring last year. We are measuring against 2019 summer. So we are plus by 15% compared to 2019. So impact is there, but in case of dairy, I'm not talking about food. The biggest advantage is the last 1.5 years, there is no increase in prices. All other food category prices have gone up 20, 30, 40%. Edible oil is 40%, poultry is 50 to 100%. So that way, because of any price escalation, dairy has been escalated. So that is becoming very, very positive.
Right. So, Mr. Sodhi, with this, when we talk about where demand is concerned, across, yes, you've seen a marginal dip. However, when we see the milk consumption, that is one category which has a direct impact, especially in times of a lockdown, because you have offices, hotels, restaurants, tea stalls which remain closed. Now, if that happens, what is the strategy with regards to the excess milk stock that we will be having?
Hiroji, you're right that dairy is also consuming a lot of in Horeca segment. And I can say category wise, it can be 10 to 15% of total organized packed dairy products are going for the Horeca segment. So if there is an impact of 50%, so naturally 5% impact on the overall business or 6% business is there. But that much increase may happen in the home consumption. But more than that impact comes geography. Certain geography will reduce much, like Metro, Bombay, Pune, or the cities. There it may go down 10, 15%, 20% total. But there are certain geographies like Eastern India, UP, Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, their demand is growing. So as such, no. But organized sector like Amul, no, you're right. we are getting again more milk, around 13 to 14% compared to last year. And last year we got 15% more milk. So you can imagine 2 years, more than 25-27% more milk is coming. And this is the time when you manufacture less of commodity, but again, we are making a lot of commodities. And skim milk powder, white butter prices, which were again coming back to the normal to pre-COVID till the month of January or mid of February. But with the onset of again COVID, the commodity prices again started weakening. Not gone to that extent, but if I give you skim milk powder is a indicator. In case of February 2020, prices were around 320 rupees kg, which had crashed to 170 rupees during the COVID period. Again, it has gone back to 260, 70, and again now it has started going back. It is now 240 or 50 rupees. Although summer is there. But let me tell you, last 2 years, because of this fluctuation in demand supply, production may not happen what way it used to be. So there's no more milk, there's no more milk. But definitely because of this temporary COVID situation, which may not continue like last year. Now, biggest change this year time is the increased vaccination happening every day.
Correct.
Another 2 months, you will see around 25% population is vaccinated or 30% population. And you see what is happening in Israel. After more than around 50% population is getting vaccinated, they opened up everything, even no mask, that herd immunity comes. So we are hopeful that after 2 months, you will see again jump.
Right. And with this, by when do you expect, say milk powder to go back to levels of say 280, 300? Because currently we did see a time when prices dipped to levels of 200, 210. But by when do we see that coming back to these levels? Because clearly, if there is a downtake, it's going to be a clear loss for the farmers as well.
Yeah, definitely prices of milk have started. Wherever commodity players are more like Maharashtra, farmers' price have increased to already 2 to 3 rupees. It has gone up by 7 to 8 rupees, not 2 to 3. But it has not happened in the north. North still prices are going up. Rajasthan also going up. East also it's up. So it has happened only some pockets where commodity plays a more. And the price will go up as soon as we find that COVID number reduces, more vaccination happens, as lockdown is reduced.
And in terms of procurement as well, a lot of dairies in Maharashtra, Mr. Sodhi, had looking at a further correction with regards to where procurement of milk is concerned. I think they were paying farmers 27. They've come down to almost 25 rupees. However, I think Amul has kept up to their rates right now with regards to procurement. So what's the reason for this? Do you think Amul will be able to stay with that 28, 29, 30 rupee bracket with regards to procurement?
Yeah, there's no reason to reduce it because we have not reduced the MRP of any of our products, milk. Whatever milk we procure, 91, 92% goes for the value-added packed product also. So commodity has got on a major, but definitely it decides is the price indication as well as Maharashtra is concerned. I'm fully confident this time price will not go down further. The reason is simple. Summer is there. Production has not gone up that way overall, and commodity stocks are not there much. Like 2019, 18, 19. Whatever commodity stocks are there with Amul only. Let me tell you, we are not worried. We know we have got confidence in 1.35 billion stomachs. So don't worry.
Correct. And then with this, in these times of distress, distribution is the key. Managing distribution is one of the most important things that we need to look at when it comes to FMCG. Now, how has Amul managed to keep the supply chain going in the current period?
Challenge was here last COVID. This time, I don't see there is any challenge much as far as, like I said, dispatches or the logistics or even at our distributor ends. Only problem is that you have to see that lot of partners or people involved in the supply chain are suffering from COVID. So you have to find out the replacement, how will take care of their job. So there is a distribution, there's no much problem. And I don't foresee, not only for Amul, for any other brand, distribution. Now everybody knows that milk is exempted. And now people realize that COVID is there, but during daytime, all the business happens. All the shops are open, except a few cities in Bombay, a few places in Bombay, Maharashtra. Rest of the India, things are more or less open.
Right. And overall, right now, in terms of competing with global markets as well, where do you place India? Because I think I was reading a report which clearly said that almost 21% of world's milk production in 2030 will be produced. I mean, today we are producing 21% of world's milk production.
30, more than 30.
Correct. Oh, it's gone to more than 30. So if you're producing that quantum, what is stopping us to become a globally competitive with regards to where milk and value-added products, dairy products is concerned for exports?
It is very simple because the whole world is growing at the rate of only 1.8% in milk production. India is growing rate of 6%, and the same rate we continue. I mean, we will be the 1/3 of the, by another 10 years, will be producing 1/3 of that. But you have to also see in India, consumption is also growing. Because of our number of population affordability, India's consumption will increase. And no doubt, one day or another, India is going to become dairy to the world. Today already, we are competitive in world fat market. I mean, fat prices of world market are around 15 to 20% higher than the India. And last few years, we were not there. So gradually, fat, when I say fat, means butter and white butter. So once the fat export starts, naturally, you'll see India is going to become big. Only problem which India is right now facing is because our more than 60% milk is buffalo. So international buyer to see what way buffalo butter is better than the cow butter, and it is better. So that is the one thing. In case of skim milk powder, international prices are around 210 to 20, our are 230, 40, 50. So Indian prices have gone up and down, but international prices of dairy are going up for the last 1 year. So like any other food commodities. So this last time international prices also gone down, that's an Indian SMP price also gone down. Now if it goes down below 220, people will start exporting. So you don't expect skim milk powder prices going down below this or fat prices going down below this. If it happens, it will be very, very, very temporary.
Okay, so if you have to look at India as an exporting country, especially now talking about Amul, how ready are we to meet an export demand as well?
India, if you were to become good market share and export market, you have to come out with a unique proposition. And in India, the biggest advantage which we are realizing now is our asset is the buffalo milk. Nowhere in the world, buffalo milk products can be exported. Pakistan does that, but they are milk deficit country. And buffalo milk powder, buffalo milk butter, buffalo milk ice cream, buffalo milk yogurts are much, much superior than the cow milk because the color is white. It has more calcium. It is more tasty. So we have to encash our buffalo milk. And let me tell you, any Indian dairy company, domestic market is going to be the main market deciding the business strategy, not the export market. But now, let me also tell you, Government of India has come out with production link incentive for the Mozilla cheese. And there you'll find a lot of exports opportunities are there.
Right. And Mr. Sodhi, another aspect is that I think the top 10 importing countries in the world don't really allow imports from India.
Yeah.
Now, to deal with this, what do you think should be the right steps that the government should be taking, that we as a country, dairy companies, and along with them, the farmers also benefit out of the same move?
No, that is firstly you have to um, bring this to the attention of the policy maker, Ministry of Commerce, and we have done it. I mean, dairy industry has done it. That be it China, Russia, or the other Mexico, or the Japan. I mean, all these countries, Europe. I mean, they are talking about FTA. Europe does not allow dairy products import from India. So we are talk. I mean, which are any country comes to us that we want to have free trade with the India. We say first allow dairy products import in your country at normal duties. You don't allow normal duty. What to talk about the zero duty?
And with this, overall, if you go to see the government, especially the Prime Minister, has been focusing on farmers as well as rural economy. In fact, I think they've decided to use almost 15,000 odd crores for dairy infrastructure fund. Do you think this is something which will help us create a second white revolution in the country?
One thing is the government of India or the PM and other, they have realized if they have to generate or increase the employment in rural India, animal husbandry is the one. I mean, agriculture is growing at 2 or 3%, but animal husbandry, be it dairy, poultry, or fisheries, are growing at the rate of 6 to 10%. Our income is going more than 10 to 12%. So, livelihood in the rural India is going to come up animal husbandry because market is also here. In the other grain sector, market is not. And with this 15,000 crore rupees animal husbandry infrastructure fund, it is mainly for the private sector. It is not for the cooperative sector. And where there is 3 or 4% interest subsidies there to pay. I think it is there, but the second white revolution is not, I mean, it is required, but at that pace is not possible. In the first white revolution, inputs or the financial contribution was much more than this. 10 to 20% of total investment. And today, there's no help in any incentive. It is only the interest subvention for the loan. So 3 to 4%. So not in the capex.
Right. So right now, if we have to make Amul a global brand, what would be the strategy to capture international markets? What will be the kind of ad spends that we can expect? Because in 2020 as a calendar year, Amul was one of the brands that actually did smart marketing, smart advertising when the world was thinking of not advertising. So the kind of benefits that Amul got at the kind of costs was spectacular. So from here on, to increase brand value further, what are the steps that we would be taking?
Well, you see, coming to the global brand, Amul, I mean, if you have got a market leader in a country which has got a 30% market share, you become global brand means the largest selling brand.
Correct.
So I think with the increase in Indian dairy segment market, Amul is going to become the global brand because it doesn't mean that you should be present in all 150 countries. I mean, Amul today is present in more than 55 countries, including India. So that is a good thing. And right from beginning, no doubt you may be saying that Amul is advertised a lot, but we don't spend much. We spend less than 1%.
Correct.
Is it because of our umbrella branding? I mean, that strategy. And brand building is like building asset. And Amul, and you don't stop building asset when market is down. Today, if Sensex has gone down, this is the best time to invest if anybody wants to invest. Okay. And same is the Amul during COVID when we found that advertising rates are 1/3 or 1/4. We doubled our advertising spend and we got the benefit also. So right from 50s, Amul believe in brand building through advertising, and we are keeping less than 1% of our sales turnover for advertising, and then we'll continue about that.
Right. And clearly, in the last 10 years, Mr. Sodhi, we've seen a 17% CAGR growth. I think back then in 2010, Amul had a turnover of 8,000. FY20, we've exceeded almost 52,000. So if you have to look at the next 5 years, what is the growth going to look like?
Because whatever like 16-17% growth we get, it comes to half comes from volume growth, half comes from price. So
Correct.
inflation, like I said, 1.5 years has not happened. Now I have seen last year, in case of Amul, volume growth overall, in case of our branded consumer product is 9%. When I say branded consumer product, the milk, butter, cheese, paneer, no doubt some branded products have gone down also, ice cream, etc., or the beverages, etc., also, or the cream, etc., because of worker closing or so. But overall 9%. Plus you have to add whatever price inflation is there. So, but I think we'll continue with the volume growth of not less than today. If you see today we are getting 12 to 13% more milk. Last year we got 15% more milk. So that much growth is going to come, plus the price inflation. So let us see how much it happens.
Right. And another aspect, Mr. Sodhi, that we've seen is that you've expanded beyond dairy products. You have frozen potato snacks as a category that has come in as well. What is, the idea behind this new category? What's your strategy? What's the vision of Amul towards this?
One thing is we are very clear. Our main strategy is going to dairy, because dairy has got more potential than any other food category also, and we have got competence in it, and we got market leadership. So all major investment is going to happen there. Coming to other category, maybe potato, etc. You see, Banaskantha district is the district whole over India largest producer of potato is there, and one or two companies are buying potato, freezing it and selling all over India, and they were not giving farmers good price. So that district union wanted to give good price, and he said, okay, why not you buy potato, make frozen products. Amul has got the most network for frozen products, the ice cream. I mean, no other company has got. So distribution was not the problem. Supply chain is already there. Farmers are already producing. So we are learning. So it is there. I mean, it is like main is the icing on the cake. Basically, just little bit without any overheads. We do not have extra manpower, extra people, or except the capex which now we are doing.
But do you think
same distributors?
Correct. But do you think if this is something which really goes well as subsidiary for Amul, will we see an expansion happening in these categories as well?
Definitely it will happen. Like in bakery, we are expanding because without putting we'll do anything which will not put burden on our milk business. We do not want to give even less 1 paisa in the milk price to farmers by taking that 1 paisa to some other business. All other business have to be self-financed.
Absolutely.
We are not we subsidize potato or the bakery for next 5-10 years. Then no. From day one is on your own. We don't want to, but milk business or dairy business will not subsidize any other business.
You're right. And Mr. Sodhi, another aspect, with regards to dairy is that there is a lot of buzz, in between. Everyone was talking about A2 products, A2 milk, A2 ghee, A2 dahi. And now the trend has again changed to turning vegan. There is a push for plant-based drinks, soy milk, almond-based drinks. Is this a threat to the dairy industry, number one? And number two, how do you see this entire scenario panning out?
You're right. A1, A2, and now vegan, these are the fact. You think the food, you see every 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, new things come, but these are not long-term say the trends. Today, 1 or 2% people may be talking about vegan food and other thing in case of dairy, but if 1 or 2% may be going for vegan food, but you get 5 to 10% more people in that basket. But let me tell you, about 40, 50 years when USA, there was a trend of going for margining. Now everybody realizes the effects of margining. Now vegan is a new concept. People only talk about what marketing companies are doing it. They don't know the ill effects of vegan food. How nutritionally it is not only 1/3 or 1/4 of the dairy products. So once people realize, again they'll go back. Like A2 milk. I see people started selling even A2 ghee. Whereas A1 and A2 is a type of protein. And ghee does not have protein, it's got only fat. So once consumer realize it's not on sound footing, no scientific footing. Vegan is not based on scientific footing. It's on emotions, other thing, or through social media. And these same people will be busy tomorrow some new fad, new trend.
Okay. So that's a new trend that you're picking up. And very lastly, Mr. Sodhi, from here on, for the dairy industry to grow, what do you think that the government should be doing?
The biggest, I think, is which we have been telling is that India is a world's largest dairy market, both from livelihood side also, consumption side, and fastest growing market. Please leave it alone. Don't tinker anything in it. Means policy making, what you have been doing last 30, 40 years, continue with farmer friendly, consumer friendly policy in dairy. That is, do not allow FTAs in dairy. Allow imports, let them compete. Like other normal duty of 30, 40%, whatever duty is there, you pay. Like we are paying for export of dairy products to other countries. We can't, our farmers can't compete the subsidized export from other dairy rich country. So please don't think what, and please put more, allocate more budget allocation during annual year budget in central and state equal to the contribution to the agriculture GDP. Dairy is contributing to the 27% of agri GDP, but budget allocation is just 3 to 4% of the agriculture budget. So please allocate more resources and encourage local production, local consumption. Don't tinker with the existing policy, which is giving us dividend.
Absolutely. I think stay local is something that needs to be encouraged. Thank you, Mr. Sodhi. As always, a pleasure to speak to you. Great candid conversation. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as well.
Yeah.
And speak to you soon again and stay safe.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.